Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. How are you out there? I'm really excited. Can you tell? Can you tell? It's not all the coffee I've been drinking, although I have been drinking rather lots of that. I've got a really, really, really VIP special guest in today. One of our heroes. We play some of his stuff from his band, and we'll be playing some more of it a bit later on. This is, ladies and gentlemen, get this. We have on Zoom joining me now. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't even bear to say his name because I'm so excited. It's John Verity. Hello, John. How are you?
I'm okay, Simon. How are you?
Oh, can you not tell? Can you not tell how excited I am?
Okay.
You must get this all the time, John. People in awe of you.
Oh, you reckon?
Oh, come on, mate. Okay, in my dreams I do. For me, so this is right. But we're fellow guitarists, so we both play guitar. We both sing. We both write music. We've both played with some fairly well-known artists in our time. But this is all about you. Nothing to do with me at all. So this is all about you. So John, I'm going to take you back, wind the clock back a couple of years when you were first born. Into I believe it was Bradford. Am I right? They're thinking you were born in Bradford in West Yorkshire.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
John, just so we can confirm that, can you give us some Bradford accent, just so we know you are?
I never had a Bradford accent. I've got a northern accent, but I never actually had a proper Bradford accent.
Oh, let the side down for Bradford, but no, fine. That's fine. It's probably good in a way that you haven't. Okay, so tell us a bit about growing up. When did you first see the guitar and guitar sort of became part of your life?
I was about 11 when I first wanted a guitar.
And who did you see play? What sort of made you want to play the guitar? Is there anyone particular back then?
I can't really remember. I mean, I know that Bert Weedon was on telly.
Of course.
That might have been sort of seen that, and he was on regularly. He was on this kids program, and of course he was pushing he had his play in a day book that everybody seems to have learnt from.
Yeah, it's
not
still
me, incidentally.
It's still very famous, but same here, not me, but it was. Everyone knows it, don't they? Yes, Bert Weedon's book, Play for a Day. Yes, I know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Everybody says they learnt from it, but I didn't. But anyway, yeah, and it was colour TV. I think, and the guitar looked. I don't know. It just looked amazing.
It is amazing. It's the most amazing musical instrument out there, which we all need to reinforce to the youngsters out there. So that was great. So at school, were you in any bands or anything like that? Oh, I seem to have lost you, John.
Really.
Oh, sorry, mate. It just broke up for a second. It just broke up for a second. Sorry about that. No, just saying, were you in any bands at school or anything like that?
No, there weren't any school bands as such back then. I mean, we're talking about the very early '60s now. I got my first guitar was just an acoustic guitar. I mean, my story's the same as everybody from my time. My first guitar was an unplayable Spanish guitar that chopped your fingers up, and then I managed to get an electric guitar, very basic electric. It was a Vox electric guitar, actually.
Wow.
And then once their guitars were made, I think they were made in Italy, actually. But it was a Vox Clubman. I still remember the name. And when it started to wear, I realized it was actually made from plywood.
No.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it didn't have a jack socket on it. The socket on it was an aerial socket.
Wow.
And that seemed to be normal. I don't know why it didn't have a jack socket on it. You being a guitarist will know what I'm talking about. But it had the coaxial socket like a TV aerial.
Yeah, maybe if you got bored, you could plug it in as an aerial for the telly or something. But that's surreal, isn't it? How things
it would have worked, wouldn't it?
It probably
would have worked. Yeah, well, Well, I used to. I mean, I didn't have an amp at first. I used to plug it in the back of the radio because the radios had like a gram input
Mm.
for plugging a record deck into, and that was my first guitar amp. But then when I got my first real amp, I just basically went looking in the paper for adverts for groups, as they were called then, looking for a guitarist. And I got into my first group in Bradford.
Tell us a bit about that then. Who was this first group you were in?
I should be ashamed to say that I don't remember the names of anybody. It is a long time ago though, but we were called the Chillers, spelt CHILLAS. And I think that was the first band. I don't know. I was in a number of local Bradford bands whilst I was kind of getting my chops, if you want, like actually learning how to play. But the stuff we were doing was pretty basic, really. And then I realized, sort of kind of didn't want to do anything else. So it completely knackered up my school days in terms of school because I didn't want to do anything. I knew what I was going to be. I was going to be a flipping pop star, wasn't I?
Yeah, of course.
So why would I mess around with school? I hope there's no kids listening to this.
Oh dear.
So yeah, and I was at grammar school, but I left when I was 15. I think I left. I actually left. I don't think I was even 15 when I left.
Jeez.
I just stopped going because, like I said, I'd kind of made my mind up, and it just grew from there. I just moved from band to band, group to group, as I improved, so I'd get into a bit better one and then a bit better one. And that's kind of how I built my career, if you want.
Wow. Okay. So from them early days, there must have been some guitarists that you saw as a kid, as a teenager, when you were starting to learn to play, and you thought, "I want to be like him. He's my next big." Have you got any names of guitarists that certainly stick in your head now from your early days?
Yeah, well, in the in the UK, the English end, there was Hank Marvin, and I admired people like Duane Eddy, that sort of thing. I mean, I listened. We were listening to a lot of American singles, but we didn't know who played on them, and it wasn't really common knowledge. I mean, all the people that we now, looking back now, that we admired then, the people like Scotty Moore, who played with Elvis, and people like that, we didn't know who they were. They were invisible. They were just backroom people. It wasn't like it is now, where everybody that plays on everything.
Everything's on YouTube and Facebook, and you've got an audience anyway, which matters. Look, we're going to take a break. We're going to go to a record, and you talked a little bit about Hank Marvin. I tell you what, I quite fancy this. I haven't heard this for years. This is by The Shadows. It's called "Man of Mystery."